Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a Crafty Crew kit video. I thought it would be fun to use the smaller button elements in the two stamp sets that are part of this month's, I guess I should say, when you're ordering it next month's kit, but the January kit. And if you look at these two stamp sets, we have all these cute little buttons here and there, and also we have like the scissors and the pin cushion. We just have a bunch of extra stuff. And I thought, and when I originally saw this kit, I had mentioned to one of my fellow teammates that I was really excited about the buttons, and he said, "Why are you excited about the buttons?" And it's because you can make cool patterns out of it, and that's essentially what I did here. So I used a wreath making template to make a cool little sewing background. As I mentioned I think you've seen the other video at this point by now, but I've been on kind of a green and pink color scheme and thought it would be good to bring a little green in. But, and that's why I wound up coloring like the granny square with like a dark green and pink. And if you saw some of my other I used sort of green and pink sort of color scheme on the sewing machine as well. But I thought we could use this fun background. And I also had these tag dies in my stash that had sort of this scalloped edge. So I think we can go with sort of a decorative edge because to me that sort of evokes the idea of sewing. So this was kind of how I envisioned putting it together. I also have a larger sentiment, so if we decide we want something else, we can definitely do that. But I love these two kids. There's like the good, helpful kitty and the naughty kitty who's stealing your scissors. So I like it quite a bit. But what we really have to decide is what we want, how we want to cut this up. Because probably the most efficient way to use any of these, this is basically 7 by 7 but square, is you can cut it in either halves or into quarters. We're going to have a lot of space at the top and the bottom. So what we could do is, and I think the card is going to be fairly symmetrical. So I think I'm going to mostly go for the center here. Um, and then this actual center of this would be covered up by the tags, but you would see the sort of a balanced image on either side. So I think that's the direction I'm going to go. You could also do something like this if you were going to have your focal image like up here somewhere so that you could kind of balance it. And if you wanted to, you could also do something like this where you just have like a pop of it. So there's a lot of options, but I'm going to come die cut this and then come back and we can put together the rest of this card. Hey guys, welcome back. I cut this out and then decided I kind of wanted to change up my composition because I really like all these buttons and the way I was doing it before, it seemed like it would cover them up. So I thought what I would do is split the two tags, and then what we can do is probably use one of the included buttons on this tag to sort of balance it out. So let's do that. And you can see I went with this nice little stitch detail. I'm going to glue this down. I would recommend using wet glue anytime you do sort of a wet method background. What I did is stamp this out in hybrid ink, and then I went and sprayed it with a combination of mica and regular sprays. So I'm just going to glue this down. And it also, this other sentiment I grabbed that's a little bit bigger is from Stitch Whiskers. So I'm just going to push this down, make sure we have good coverage. With some of these, when you spray any paper, it's going to warp a little bit. So um, you can see this is lifting up a little bit. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit more glue here. My base is a 100-pound cardstock, so it shouldn't really get waterlogged or anything. So it's perfectly reasonable to, I think everything, all the other sides are glued down. But whenever you're working with sort of a sprayed piece, it's really common that something will be a little bit warped. So I think the first thing we want to do is, I think we want to get our two tags down, and then we can put our cats on at the end. And I opted, of course, for to have a nice gray cat. I want this tag here sort of more up near the top because I'm going to cover up a lot of it with the sentiment. But I think I want to maintain the two different scalloped edges so you can kind of see those. And this came from the paper pad that's part of the kit as well, which is the lovely as a rose. So if you wanted to do more, if you wanted to make this more floral, you certainly could. I just kind of wanted the background to remain the star, so I didn't pull in any additional patterns here, but you certainly could. And if you do make something with this kit, I would love it if you either posted it in the Crafty Stamp Co. Facebook group, or you can post it directly on my community tab. But it's always fun to see what people do with the kits when they get them home and have a chance to play with them. And I'm basically following this inner stitched line here for lining up my tags, so we shouldn't really have any issues with things being straight unless I wiggle it like that, which and the reason I kind of split this up is I really like kind of the seeing all the various sewing bits. And I think what we're going to do is I think we can put this all the way to the edge, and then we're going to basically have the cat with the scissors covering it up. But since he's in a little playful posture with his butt in the air, uh, we should not have too much trouble fitting him in. And there's a lot of white space here. And I'm just going to make sure that this sentiment is even with the edge of the card. Because it kind of breaks the frame and just makes it seem more visually interesting. And then we can have our little kitty here. I did actually take a gel pen and colored in the handles of his scissors with a little metallic just to make it a little extra fun. And we can also have him kind of breaking the line here of the edge of the pink tag. So that's, I think, a good way to add a little more visual interest because if everything's like 100% perfectly lined up, I always find like my brain stops paying attention to all the details. But when we have our little friends here, it's much more fun and more fitting to the cat who's causing mischief. We have our little other cat on the bottom who's going to be a very good boy, just kind of hanging out, or girl, whichever you prefer. The friendship is tighter than than quilting corners, which I think is great because you have the cat at the bottom quilting. And there is also a cat sitting on top of fabric. Feel free to. I should have an unboxing video up by this point if you want to see all the things. And now I'm gonna go. And if you are a monthly subscriber, you always get an extra thingy. And this month, the bonus thing are buttons. And I think it would be really cute to just use a button here since we have a very sewing theme. And these actually look like little flowers, which works just great with the whole rose theme. And I'm going to continue using my PVA glue here. It should glue almost anything down. But we will let that dry for a bit before we start moving this around too much. These are also really light buttons, which is nice because I don't think they will add more postage. If you do mail this card, you can put a piece of copy paper on top just so the button won't like punch a hole in the envelope. But this is our finished card with our little kitties and our button themed background paper that we made. It is giving very pink and green vibes like my first card. So I think someone's marketing is stuck in my head. But anyway, these are our little kitties, and I hope you check out the box. If you create anything, please let me know. If you would like to shop for it, there are links down in the description, as always, and those are affiliate links, so they always help me out. So thanks for checking this out, and I will talk to you guys later.